Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be dialing in from around the world. Thank you all for joining and spending time with us for today's webinar, Insuretech 300, presented by Aite-Novarica Group. I'm Caitlin Labby, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. We'll be starting the webinar shortly, but first, let me just cover a few quick housekeeping items. We will be taking questions at the end of the webinar, so please feel free to submit your questions using the questions feature located in the GoToWebinar toolbar to the right of your screen. Also, today's webinar will be recorded, and a link to view the recording on demand will be available after the session. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's speakers. Stephanie Dalwin is an advisor at Aite-Novarica Group, supporting the firm's insurance business and technology trends research, along with vendor consulting engagements. Stephanie also heads up the company's Insuretech program, engaging startups through briefings and industry reports. Jeff Goldberg is head of insurance insights and advisory at Aite-Novarica Group. His expertise includes data analytics and big data, digital strategy, policy administration, reinsurance management, insurtech and innovation, SaaS and cloud computing, data governance, and software engineering best practices such as agile and continuous delivery. I'll turn the mic over now to Stephanie for further introductions and to dive into today's content. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed today's webinar. Stephanie, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Caitlin, and thank you to everyone for joining us this morning. I'm really excited to be here to talk about, as Caitlin said, our InsureTech coverage, specifically our InsureTech 300 report, as well as kind of general trends that we're seeing, market trends, the current state of InsureTech, and our future plans at Aite-Novarica Group for InsureTech coverage. I'm very excited to be joined by Jeff today, and as Caitlin said, we're hoping to keep this kind of conversational. Jeff and I are going to be asking questions of each other, and we're also excited for your questions as well. So just to get started, I thought it would be a good idea to cover kind of what do we mean by InsureTech. So Jeff, I'm going to hand it over to you to kind of lead us into the webinar.
Sure. Yeah, the first thing, even before I describe that, I'm going to say that you'll see the title on this slide is InsureTech for Insurers. When we first started putting this report out, I mean, really, how many years have we done the InsureTech overview report, Steph? 5 years?
Yeah, our fourth or fifth iteration, so yeah.
Yeah, I think the first one was the InsureTech 80 before it grew to 300. We noticed that a lot of the coverage in the space was either from an investor standpoint or from kind of like a tech innovation standpoint. But there wasn't a lot of, or point of view, I should say, there wasn't a lot of material out there written from the point of view of an insurer trying to understand what's going on, what should I care about. And so when we talk about this space, we are really trying to focus on why does this matter to insurers, to established insurance technology companies, and the insurance industry in general. And it has been a wonderful, wonderful ride these last 4 or 5 years covering this space. And so it's actually gotten to the point where I try to avoid saying the word InsureTech on its own. I tend to say InsureTech startup or insurance technology company because we are in recent years morphing towards a point where InsureTech is starting to feel a little bit like FinTech. And where FinTech just means financial services industry technology. It doesn't necessarily mean startups. I would say, and if you look at some of the big events in the space, they started out as all startups, and now they look like insurance technology conferences. IDC, a wonderful event that's really started to dominate the industry as the insurance technology show. It used to be all insurtechs in the room and like a few incumbent vendors kind of around the edges. Now it's the opposite. Now it's a big showroom floor of the insurance technology companies, and there's like an area in the back where they put all the insurtechs and little kiosks.